Welcome back to another episode of Off Road with the Abrams. I'm your host James Abrams, and over to my always on my right on Mondays at 5:30 is John Abrams. He's um he's
I'm your
sugar
brother.
he's
That's what I
the
am.
sugar-free version. He's off sugar, refined
I'm
sugar.
off sugar.
You want
Two
to tell
weeks,
people about
man.
that?
Yeah. So, okay, for anybody who knows me closely, I'm a real sugar fiend. But it's not just specifically. It's not just sugar because I can go without candies. Yeah, like I don't go and buy candy for myself. It's chocolate, particularly in cake form. Cookies too. Definitely cookies too.
So what are you
So
doing now?
so I am off, and it's actually kind of tough because after I finished those exams there, and before the lockdown or whenever it was, my mom brought over a whole bunch of different brownies and cakes and stuff like that from our local bakery, one of the local bakeries that we have, Cards Bakery,
Yeah.
great bakery in town in Kingston. And so I put them all in the freezer, and of course I have these. I was going on about these level up bars last week. That just goes to show you how obsessed I am with this stuff. So yeah, I've got all these things in my cupboard and in my freezer. And in true John fashion, and James, you can attest to this, right? Like I'm kind of the guy who like makes a decision. When I make a decision, it's like I need it or I'm gonna do it yesterday. And you're
This is
like
the
that
level up
too.
bar.
Yeah, thanks for waving at my face. You're like that too. But just the other day, mom sends us a text about this medical conference she's at on Zoom and talking about how sugar is really bad for gut health and really bad for you. And of course we've heard all this stuff about sugar, right? And just like a snap twig in that moment, I just said to myself, that's it. I'm off sugar for 2 weeks. And you know what the problem is? I went down and I told Alex. There's the problem. I actually went downstairs and I impulsively made the declaration to Alex that I'm off sugar for 2 weeks. As soon as I did that, it was real, man. Like it was real. And so I said, and of course I said to her, I need you to help me be accountable. I said, I'm like Ulysses, tie me to the mast. If I hear the sirens, don't hear me scream kind of thing. That's literally what I said in a text. So that's
Wow.
been very difficult. Like
That's pretty
really,
that's pretty
really.
dramatic. It's a pretty
No, well, it's
dramatic
it's that it is that dramatic. I Alex can attest. I lay in bed at night before I go to sleep, and I'm sitting there thinking about how badly I want to eat a cookie or a brownie. That's
All
how
right.
that's how much.
Well, we
So
got we got we got
I'm
Tracy in
off
here.
it
We
now.
got Amy. We got Eliza. We got Alistair. Some of the stuff going
Excellent.
on. I got
Maybe
someone in
they can
my
weigh in.
window. I
Just a random person in your window.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, I woke up this morning and was busy doing stuff, and then happened to eventually look outside, and 'cause it's like everybody's at home, and I realize on both sides of the street, all the
Hmm.
way up the street, as far as I can see, there's pipes lying on people across uh driveways,
What?
like under, and I look out, and there's a pipe running under my car.
What are you
And
talking about? What?
and so
What?
apparently they're digging up my street, and it's just it's turning into just this huge construction zone, and so now I guess there's random people that are gonna end up in my
What do you mean there's a pipe
window.
under your car? Did they actually just did
Yeah, and
one
then
roll under
to
there
move the car,
somehow?
they had to take the pipe apart. So
Oh, there's a pipe under your car, like under
yeah.
the
Well,
under
I'll
the
give you
pavement.
updates on that one, but apparently it could
So
be for
so
six
what's
months. It's temporary water, and
so
they're
you have a
doing a
big
whole.
dig out front of your house.
We had that at that place we were living
Wow.
together, right, John? And it's
We
followed
did.
me here.
It's followed you. The
Tracy says
construction.
hello, boys.
Hey Tracy.
Bob says, how about them Leafs? I gotta say something about them Leafs. I wrote down today to not forget to mention the NHL playoffs, which have
Of
all of a
course.
sudden just they're here, and
Yeah. Can you believe
everybody
it?
anybody that's been here before knows that I'm a huge hockey fan. I've just ever since I was about 6 years old, I just every waking moment that I could, I would be following hockey or wanting to play hockey or playing mini sticks or which
Oh,
we
all
got
the
to
time.
mention at some point. Talk about that little invention we came up with when we were kids with the mini stick thing. But
Yeah. We should talk about that now.
well, no, I'm busy doing other
Or are we
things
going to
here,
talk
talking
about
about
that
stuff.
in a
I'm
sec?
talking about, yeah, maybe. I don't know. At some point, we should bring it up. But the Toronto Maple Leafs. So for
Right.
anybody who doesn't know, they're an NHL team. I assume that a lot of these people that hang out with us here are Canadian and would know that, or whatever, would know it, regardless of if you're Canadian or not. But
Right.
the Leafs have it's a weird season because they just played the Canadian teams this year, which isn't normally. It's a different divisions
Right.
and stuff, but
The
they ended
Canadian.
up first in their division, and they're just flying along. And so they're doing better than they have done in a really long time. So I'm
It's
sure Leaf
amazing.
fans are loving that. And
Absolutely.
we're gonna see here. It's gonna be Toronto Montreal, which is one of the oldest sort of rivalries. And
Absolutely.
in the
Very,
first round,
that'd be cool. It's
I
going to
think
be
that
awesome.
that's pretty much guaranteed now. And that's going to be really cool. That has not happened, I think, in a couple decades. I would have to fact check myself on that. But so that's exciting. And man, would it be an upset if Montreal took him down?
Oh my
Holy
goodness.
smokes! We got Amy putting
I
in
don't think
some
the lockdown
emotes.
can restrict that riot. That's
I don't know. That's
that's
true. That's true.
it's inevitable.
Amy put in a little BB-8 emote, so that's nice. Thank you,
Oh, I
Amy.
like that. I always like a Star Wars reference. Thank
Maybe
you.
James should try it too. The no sugar. Alistair
Ooh.
says, "Hey guys, good to see you again. Thank you."
Alistair, in fairness, James is way, way better than me at this. Like, I'm an addict. Like, I'm an
I'm
absolute
more of a
chocolate addict.
salt kind
Yeah,
of,
James is a
salt kind of
chips
guy.
guy, but also, he's the kind of guy that you could offer something to, like a cookie or a chocolate bar or something. He'd be like, no, 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 I don't feel like it. That's fine. And I think most normal
Yep.
people are, but most normal people don't get like the shakes during the day. And like, I open the cupboard and I stare at the cookies and I like have to shut it. And I said to Alex, I said, like, I need something else that's gonna like fill the void because right now
Yeah.
it's very
It's called
difficult. But
protein.
anyway,
Protein, my man.
well, yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Um,
And yeah, very little helps though. I mean, it's a little bit hopeless.
well, I think it's 2 weeks, right, to break habits or something. I think that I've heard that.
Is it?
Something. I don't know.
I just said 2 weeks. So that look at
No.
that. Isn't
Pierce
that nice?
Pierce Elliott is in the chat. Hi, John and
Excellent.
James. Pierce Elliott says the Leafs are the best. So
Right
there
on.
you go.
Pierce, thanks for joining us today, man. That's awesome.
Madison. Oh, hi guys. Right on. Thank you. Appreciate you guys
You
hanging
guys.
out. So yeah. So NHL playoffs. Super pumped. The Bruins play tonight and tomorrow, and then that's it
Mm-hmm.
for them. And I mentioned them again because I'm a big Bruins fan, and
Remind us,
I'm
James,
very
how
excited.
long are
I,
how many games are the rounds? Remind us.
what? What?
Like how are the playoffs structured this year?
They're the same. The
Oh,
same.
the
Seven
structured the same.
games.
It's just the divisions are
Sorry.
different. Okay,
I just
that's
found
right.
it very
Yeah.
absurd that you would ask me how the NHL playoffs go.
Well, I just remember with COVID last year, everything got completely
It's the
changed
same. They
with
just were in a
with the
bubble. They were just in a bubble.
right. Yeah.
But yeah, no. If people don't know the setup, that's yeah. It's
Yeah, for all
four
our
rounds,
international folks.
7 games around, and
Yeah, best of
it's
7.
way she goes. But with sports, there's not much to really look forward to these days. So it's like that's really exciting for me. And but moving on, Mother's Day. We had a nice Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Um,
Yes.
it's a great time of year to appreciate our mothers and everybody.
Yep.
You know, came from a mother, right, John? So
That's right. Yeah,
we all
and
have a mother.
we are appreciative of our mother. We talk about her quite a bit on this
Yeah. You went
podcast.
for a walk.
I'd say we're two pretty good sons. We
Okay.
on
When
that
I have to
front.
say with her, we get, and I admittedly on Mother's Day was in like I don't know, it's like one of those chippy. It's like a chippy mood, you know. You
You were
want
in
to
a chippy
just.
mood on Mother's Day.
I think so. I was kind of like throwing stuff out there, and you and I
This is
would
good. It's
get
getting real.
into a not chippy in a bad way, just like I felt like I wanted to comment on things, you know. And you and I would get that way sometimes when it was just us and her, right?
Yes,
And
around the dinner table always.
and that was just her worst nightmare because she had this vision of when she had kids that we would be we'd be in button-up matching shirts,
Which we were.
combed over
She put us in
hair.
those.
Well, when we were real young, then we
Yeah.
had to eventually break
We
out.
also
But it was
combed
like,
our hair over.
yeah, no, I know, matching button-ups, comb over hair, and we would say things like, "Yes, mother," you know,
Right. That's what she envisioned.
what a wonderful idea, mother.
Mhm.
Phrases like that, don't you think? That's
I think
kind
she
of
had this idea of the sit down, the
this is
1950s
'50s. Yeah,
black and white TV, family meal where you sit down and she sits at the head of the table, and the two boys are sitting there, and just like when we're talking about like big global issues, concepts and stuff at like five,
like
and
this,
yeah,
sitting there,
exactly. and
something like
and
this.
so this was her concept of us sitting around the table when we were younger, and quite often. Now, in fairness,
Oh, we were, yeah,
mostly because, and we can we like full disclosure, mostly because Dad tended to be more the disciplinary guy, and
sure,
Mom
sure,
tended to
sure.
be the sort of the she tried. I mean, she was disciplinary where it counted, that's for sure. But she was also very love and harmony oriented, right? And that's maybe the best way to characterize it. So for her, when Dad wasn't there at the dinner table and it was just us with Mom, there was a gang up that happened. Let's just be honest, there was a gang up that happened, and James and I would
Thanks, Kyle, for liking
automatically
the stream.
we'd start horsing around with each other. Sometimes it would get into a spat, but most of the time it was just James and I kind of doing teasy sort of back and forward jokey things, and it
Yeah, I was
was
just trying to,
yeah,
yeah.
being brothers,
I
right?
don't know the
And
right
then Mom
word,
would
but
just
that's the mood.
we
That's the
just
mood I was
throw
in.
her
I
off.
like to,
Chippy. I like chippy. That's a good way to
yeah,
put it.
um,
Chippy. Yeah.
joking
Anyway, we've
around
got
and making comments and that kind of mood. I was in that
we
kind of on Mother's Day. It was kind of like a flashback a little bit.
right,
I
and we
was,
got together for an outdoor walk. That's
yeah,
what we did with Mom for
yeah.
Mother's Day. We did a nice trail walk out here, not too far from us, and Mom does like that. It's the nature walks that she really likes. So we wanted to make sure we did that for Mother's Day, and
So
it
you
was good.
found
But
some kind of
chippy.
gum commercial this week or something?
Yeah. This is pretty funny. I don't know if anybody's seen this Fresh Start. And this is
So how
kind
did you
of
find this and what was the deal?
yeah. So I can't remember where I found it. Oh, Alex played this for me. That's right. Alex played me this commercial, and it's like a commercial. It's like an extended commercial on extra gum. I thought it was so clever, and it shows all these people coming out of lockdown, and
Okay.
I think I also wanted to bring it up because it kind of relates to how I feel about this sugar, this
Oh, and what's funny
cake
is I
break.
was.
This cake break I'm on, because I feel like I'm gonna, after this 2 weeks, emerge like I've come out of the cave, and so
Oh, so you're gonna go back? You're gonna go
well,
back
I'll
to
go
your old
back in
ways?
moderation. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna like forever quit sugar. Like I don't know that I can do that. Don't
Okay.
talk to me about that right now, James.
Like I have to turn up.
I have to have some sort of goal by the end of this that I know I
Good
can go
morning,
back.
folks. This is WGUM, your stay-at-home radio station with better music and more of it. News and weather is on the way. In this just in, we are back. We can see people again. How about that? I can't believe it. News is on the way. We'll learn more in just a moment. I can't believe it.
There were nights when the wind was so cold.
I'm sure this is
Post-COVID.
copyrighted music, but whatever.
Yes, Celine Dion.
Is this Celine Dion?
Yeah.
I finished crying in the instant that you left, and I can't remember where or when or how. And I banished every
Post-COVID.
memory you and I had ever made.
That's me waiting for the cake.
Touch me like this, you hold me like that. I just got to admit that
That's actually one of our cars right now.
it's all coming back, it's all coming back to me now. There were moments of gold and there were flashes of
This is a long
light.
commercial.
There were nights of endless pleasure. It was more than any loss.
Yo, how did they film that? during COVID. This is stock.
Oh,
This is
no, it
stock
was
or what?
no, it was filmed during COVID, but people have still shot films, right? During COVID by
So
doing
all these people would have
14
been
day
vaccinated.
no, not necessarily
Look at this.
vaccinated, 14-day lockdown, like 14-day quarantine, right? To treat it.
True.
I love the office building has been taken over.
Wow.
Somebody wants to go
They
to work.
really put a lot of effort into this. Dude.
Wait for the tagline at the end. Clever.
Okay.
Wait for the tagline.
Wow. That seems like
I like that.
that seems like the amount of effort they put into something like a Super Bowl ad or something.
You're not a dish.
Yeah.
You're a
James's triggers are going off.
No. That was just the autoplay. I thought I had autoplay.
Oh,
on.
autoplay.
Anyways, so that's
I
cool.
mean-
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that, but yeah, that is some effort put into
Yeah.
a regular commercial.
I don't know if it was a Super Bowl commercial. I guess
It feels
was,
like something that is more
It
effort. than a
feels like
normal-
that. Yeah, for sure. Well, it's not a 30-minute ad, right? But that said, there's less constraint now on ads because so many ads are made dedicated for the internet, right? And this one is blown up. It's like a viral ad that's gone off. So I think it worked. But
Interesting.
but the
Kyle says, "Lol, that was awesome. Right on." Well, I'm glad that Kyle liked it.
Kyle and I like it. Yeah.
So Alex just passed that along, and
Yeah, no,
They
she
found
found that and I just thought it was so great because I was thinking about how you and I are gonna feel like that, particularly that office building scene. I know and we were talking about this a little bit the other day, but it's been great to be able to do some drive-in stuff, some online stuff, and obviously continue to record and write together as we have been doing quite often, and that's all awesome. But I feel like those people who in the commercial are clamoring to get into the office to work, like that moment where the guy comes in and he's just so happy to be at the office building. Would we have ever imagined that that's how people's attitudes would be, that they're so excited to get to an office to go to work instead of having to do it at home? And I know that you and our office is on stage, really. I mean, that's really our main office. And for us to be on stage in front of a real big audience as we're used to, it's the relief that's going to come from that is exactly that kind of feeling from that commercial. So I just thought it was kind of
absolutely. Carla writes in the chat, "Hey there, watching from Malahide Township, Ontario, Canada.
Awesome.
I hope that I pronounced that properly, but thank you so much for hanging out with us. So I found my new, speaking of some of that COVID stuff, I found my new mask that I'm gonna wear. No, I found this picture.
Right on. That's good.
I've got some, every week I like to bring in some interesting internet stuff that I find.
Ooh,
And
this is
this
nice.
little picture was, now, people, I think we should figure out a name for this segment, John, because I have a feeling like some of the stuff I find, the information I find on it is wrong. I think probably this had something to do with someone maybe with a health issue, but what was written...
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. But what was
Looks like
written?
an oxygen
What
tank.
was written online? So this is fact check with James.
Right.
Before there were noise canceling headphones, there was the isolator, a 1925 invention which claimed to increase productivity by eliminating outside distractions, specifically sounds. So I
Are you
believe that there's
kidding
some
me?
oxygen going to this mask.
Wow.
And this individual is working on a paper here.
Right, because it's like a big felt like tube on your head,
Apparently it
basically,
just
and
is
you'd suffocate
it's
otherwise.
the isolator from 1925. So
Also, you know what? Like
imagine
looking through
walking
those
around town
goggles,
with that on.
I also feel like looking through, yes, and I also feel like looking through those goggles to try and work is actually way more distracting than sitting there with something going on around you. Like, can you imagine? I mean, look how small those
I feel like
holes
they're
are
in
to
the
try and look through.
under the ocean or something. Um,
Yeah,
hmm,
20,000 leagues.
I just noticed this
That's
thing in the
funny.
front. What is this? It looks like a pencil sharpener. It's to sharpen his pencil. It's just a
Yeah,
quick
maybe
little.
just a
You put it
little
little
pencil
pencil
sharpener.
sharpener. Looks
Maybe
like
it's
you're.
old, so maybe it's like a cigarette hole.
No way, dude. You think that it's a little
a little,
to have a
like
little?
have a little smoke, like
Oh my goodness, that would be something else.
that'd be funny though. But
So
like old
found
school.
that.
Love that. That's
What
great.
else did I find in
Looks like
James
something out
fact
of
check?
Star Wars.
But,
Honestly, it
we
does
like
look
animal stuff. I
we
found
do like animal stuff.
I found now I believe that this was
I wore my favorite shirt today because I like animals.
well,
They're
it's
like,
perfect. So this is
crows.
some birds. We got some birds here.
Perfect
We have
birds.
an individual who rented a plane for their this is what I found online. An
What?
individual that rented a plane for all their birds. So the entire
What?
the whole entire plane is rented for their birds.
Like so the
I
birds
think
can
they
go
said
for
he
a
was
flight?
it was a Sikh. If I'm pronouncing that properly, right?
Yep.
So like the head of a family, correct? Am I correct? Anyways, a wealthy
Yeah,
individual
like a
who
wealthy person from the Middle
yeah,
East, like wealthy, like
clearly,
a prince.
clearly pretty, yeah.
Yep.
And apparently they rented their plane, a plane for all their birds.
Wow.
So
So just
and sometimes
no,
I can
the
barely get my
question though
violin
is
on board here, John. I can, I gotta fight people. Listen, this I cannot play a side. What is it called again? Gate check. See, dude, that's
well,
how long we
those
haven't
look like
traveled, man. I couldn't even get gate check in my head. Couldn't even get gate check.
oh yeah, James is really and reasonably so. I mean, if there's one instrument that of our whole, touring arsenal that cannot go under the plane,
Yeah, that's that one.
it's James's violin.
Couple
It's like
100 years old.
100% James's violin. It's not like it's a precious instrument, but it's beyond what it's even worth, which is irrelevant. It's priceless. You can't replace that violin. Like there are
Yeah,
so many other
it's
instruments we
something
have that
about
we could replace.
violins. I mean, same with a lot of instruments, but anybody that plays instruments, I know this. It's not like a piano or something like that where you can get a model that's similar. And guitars can be like
Right.
that, especially electric guitars. Now they can be. There's more nuance in some of the stuff, I guess. And you
Sure.
can speak to that, John. But in terms of how you set up your electric guitar, for instance. But you can't with stringed instruments. It's like you can't just get the same model, and often even if it's made
No, it's
by
true.
from the same person, it's like they're very different.
Sounds so different.
And
Yeah,
they
and
sound
there's way
different. They
less
feel
consistency,
different.
right?
They yeah, I would say
The
yeah.
other thing that
way less.
adds to the inconsistency is the fact that James's violin is a couple hundred years old, right? So you not only have the difference in the instrument from the next instrument, even from the same builder, but you also have this temporal, like this time thing. Like you have this aging thing that happens to wood and old hide glue, right? And how your violin aged in what climate, wherever it was in Europe or in North America over all those years, because we don't know how many generations owned that violin. That's going to affect the sound way different than another instrument made by the same builder. Let's say your instrument ended up in the south of France for 50 years. We don't know, right? That's going to be a much different sounding instrument than one that ended up going to northern Denmark for the same amount of time in much drier climate, right? So it's a totally different thing. The way that it affects the instrument. This much I know, at least a little bit from building my guitar with Pop.
Right.
In that we actually, when we built my guitar and when he builds many guitars, we actually still use hide glue when we build the instrument. So rather than carpenter's glue, which you can use quite a bit, your standard carpenter's glue, even a higher grade carpenter's glue, otherwise known as tight bond, it dries in about 30 minutes, like a good version of that. Whereas
Pretty quick.
hide glue is actually made from horsehide, horsehair, like the old way, like they used to make glue 100 years ago, right? So you actually have to keep it at a specific temperature. You boil it. It's hot glue that you put on, and then it takes 24 hours in the clamp to solidify. Like that's like slow bonding
That's
glue,
very
right?
slow.
But the hide glue tone and this isn't, you really can tell the difference. The hide glue tone, that's why you get really special sound out of older instruments, because the way that it crystallizes harder than tight bond carpenter's glue does. And because it crystallizes harder, the tone is able to pass through that glue more efficiently and effectively than through carpenter's glue. So
Oh.
that's why it's harder to use and it takes longer to set, and it ages better too. So that's why anytime that somebody takes the back off of an old instrument, when they put it back on, they should be using hide glue again, because your glue in your instrument, James, is like a couple 100 years old of glue, right? So it's amazing how small these things are, but they really add up to a big difference in tonal quality. And you're right, like a Fender electric guitar from the next, it might be a little bit different, but generally when they're built like on a factory line like that, it's much more similar than what you're dealing with. It's the end of story time with John, by the way.
No, it's fascinating stuff. You have a lot of experience in that with that kind of stuff, so I appreciate
Yeah.
you weighing in.
So we were talking about these
that's one
birds on the
subject.
plane.
That's one subject I will appreciate you weighing in on.
Well, but you were talking about the birds on the plane and your instrument, your violin going underneath
I just was making a little joke.
The extreme cold that happens underneath a plane.
Yeah, I
is
just can't do it.
really, really dangerous for a fiddle.
Yeah. Carla
James,
writes. Carla writes.
James, you've often threatened that like, well, if I can't have the violin up top, I'm not taking the flight. Like,
no, I
I'm
would
staying
walk
home.
off the flight. No, I'm not joking about that. That's a
Yeah.
very real thing. I would take the
'Cause you
next
hear
flight.
horror
I would
stories,
take
right?
a different. Yeah. No, I wouldn't be taking the flight.
Like we're working with Tog Salter, our producer right now, who's a phenomenal producer, and he has worked with great band Walk Off the Earth, and she had issues with the airline. I think that was with her child, but you hear all kinds of issues with airlines and instruments over the years. Now, of course, they're much more sensitive to that because of social media, I think, to a great degree. But
Yeah,
it's scary. It's a scary thing. You're always taking a risk going on a flight with an instrument to some degree. Anyway, sorry, catch up in the chat.
Carla writes in the chat, hope to see you at Boot Hill Country Jamboree in Bothwell, Ontario sometime. Really nice country music festival. Small and more personal venue. Yes, absolutely.
We were at Bothwell. We were at Bothwell. I think it was two years ago. So it wasn't last year because 2020 COVID, but it was 2019.
Man.
And we had a great time at Bothwell. It was awesome. Yeah. Really great festival.
Different world. Holy smokes. It was just.
Yeah, it feels like forever ago.
You could go to all kinds of festivals and really hope that it feels like that again sometime soon. Another photo here I found. We all know of the famous photo of a bunch of guys. It was I think it was all men. Yeah, it must have been doing that steel, that really high steel.
Oh
work.
yeah, it was.
I found a different photo, just going through the internet. Of this. What did they say here? They said
that's so brutal.
A worker relaxing during the construction of a New York skyscraper in the 1930s. So, I think if I was doing that job, though, I would have used that mask, just for the extra, just to make it a little harder.
Like just one big gust of wind, just suddenly. Oh my goodness!
I can't get over it. I'm not. Heights is I can do it, but I just cannot. It's one thing that's just the fact that this guy can even.
No, I can't do heights, man. I remember when we went to
even the putting the foot off the edge, like that's just extra.
No,
it's just a flair. He's just adding that extra.
Oh yeah,
whatever, dude.
No, like I remember when I think it was you and I, James, years ago, we went to the CN Tower and stood on the glass ceiling. Right, the glass, not the glass ceiling, the glass floor.
I know that was even hard mentally.
And I can't. Oh, look this up. Did you not see this? You should find it. I know it's in the National Post.
Okay.
This is just news from today.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it was. It was on Weibo or whatever that social media site is. It might have been, yeah, like it might have been overseas somewhere. But there was a whole bunch of people, tourists, on a glass bridge,
No.
100 meters above the ground.
Isn't that in
This happened
China?
today or yesterday. Check it out.
Isn't
Uh,
there a glass bridge like that in China?
Yeah, I think that's the one. Anyway, the wind got so bad that
National
it
Post.
blew the glass tiles out. I'm gonna set it. I can look for it. It might,
Wind shatters
cause me-
Chinese glass bridge. This is the one
Yeah,
I'm
bring
talking
it up.
about.
Bring it up. And there's a picture of a guy stranded on
This?
one of the. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
100 meters.
A man
That's
can be seen
crazy.
clinging to the rail of the bridge, surrounded by missing deck panels. Oh my goodness. I've actually
Yeah, can't do it.
like when I was looking through interesting like photos and stuff, like because that's what I'll do sometimes
Right.
for the show. I saw this as an example of like, oh, check out this bridge, and there was this like wide shot of, and this is interesting that we're coming around to a story about this. I didn't
So
end up
this,
mentioning
yeah,
it, but
we didn't plan this, but I saw this
that
earlier.
is literally just the scariest thing, man.
This is it's my nightmare. And,
It's
and
like,
I've
what if
come by
I'm the
it honestly.
exception? What if I'm the exception? Like this floor is fine, but I'm the one. It's
We
oh.
trust the engineers, but
Or
you
at
know what?
carnivals.
Stuff fails.
At carnivals, that's the other thing.
Oh
What if
yeah.
I'm the one? And I was hearing someone talk about, we talk about Disney on a regular basis.
We-
I heard recently.
it's like we're employed.
I know. Well, it's because we just, especially
like
when
it.
we haven't been able to go anywhere. It's like, and maybe
the
that's
most
kind of sad
fantastical
that that's where we want to go. But it's kids or people our age, I think, and millennials, right? There's something about Disney. They
I don't know what it
they
is.
all sold us when we
Special.
were kids, and it's
They did. It worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
They have us
What
all
they tried,
brainwashed,
it worked.
basically. They have us brainwashed. But apparently, I heard someone say that when they went to Disney, they asked somebody about, has there been any like fatal accidents at Disney? And apparently, that's a subject that they're like not
Oh.
allowed to talk about.
Oh.
Yeah, because
Well, you're
apparently
right
there
though.
has.
You're always worried that
I haven't
you're the
Googled
one.
it yet, but
You're the one that it's gonna, where the belt or the chain's gonna break,
Exactly.
or whatever it is that causes the.
like
you and
Final
I, when we were on-
Destination. Remember that old flick?
Oh yeah, like the B horror movie Final Destination. The only one I saw was Final Destination 3, which
Like
was
they,
absolutely
what is it?
horrible.
They cheat death. They cheat death, and and-
Premise, yeah.
and then it's just trying to catch up. It's catching up
Death's
to them.
coming back to them. Yeah, somehow they just cheat death, and
Oh,
it's
gosh.
and all the people that did in whatever initial episode, it's like they all one by one. Well, no, but you know what? You and I, when we were on tour in England, we were in London for a little bit, and this was one of the times near Christmas that we were there performing, and this is the same for the Calgary Stampede. Last time we played at the Calgary Stampede. We all went on, both in London and at Calgary Stampede, the drop zone rides, right?
They're some of the best.
And those are those are the things that they're my worst rides. I don't know why I put myself through them, but they're
I think that they are
horrifying.
the
to me.
best, some of the best because of the fact that they can be at a carnival, at a bigger park, and the
or a
experience
small carnival
the
too.
experience is always great. Like it's
Yeah.
always very thrilling, and
It is.
I love them. I know that you.
Even the small drop zone,
great.
like the
I
little
love
one
them.
at the county fair, that one's too much for me. Like I sit there,
Really?
and the guy,
That's
the
what I'm saying, though,
operator
is like-
at the bottom.
Because at
he's,
the county
he's
fair,
jerking the knob.
at the
he's
fair,
jerking the lever. Like you're up
yeah.
top.
At the,
And
it's
you
best
gotta-
when you can't anticipate it, but at a fair, the roller coasters are always super small. Like they're not, like all the
Right.
other rides are mini, and
Sure.
this one it doesn't matter if it's mini. Like you can still experience the G-force, right?
Right. See, I get sick on roller coasters now.
So
Like,
this
I get
kind of
sick
ride. If
on-
anybody's wondering, it's
Yeah,
this kind
drop
of ride.
zone. That's it. I don't even know if it's called a drop zone ride or just a drop ride or what, but because I think drop zone is the one at like Universal
I
Studios.
see what you're
something.
saying. Ooh, that's
But,
that tall one. Is it? Or am I just dreaming?
Like I couldn't stand that.
I love
I mean,
them.
I do it though. I force myself to do them. It's sort of like I don't know if it's a point of pride or something. Maybe it's something I have to work through in my life, but I make myself do these. Whereas with the roller coasters, they just make me sick. Drop zones don't make me
Yeah.
sick. They make me scared. Like, so I'll rather take that rather than get sick. I'd rather
I
be
feel like
scared
I
than
might
sick.
now. I haven't been in a while to like one of those places, and I feel like if I was doing roller coasters all day, it would get me now.
Oh, it
You know,
does
it's been
get me.
too long.
Remember last year we were performing out in Alberta. It was the last show that we played before COVID went down. We went
Yeah,
on the
and I
Edmonton.
couldn't go out with you because I wasn't feeling well or something, right?
Oh right, yeah. So I
Yeah.
went on the roller coaster again in the West Edmonton Mall when we were performing up there.
Oh
It's
no, that
horrible.
time. Yeah,
I
I
went
think I just
once and
decided
it
to do
made me
something
sick.
else. I think I went to a movie.
Oh yeah, you did.
I think I
That's right, you
went
did.
to. What would I have seen?
I don't know. What
Well,
did you
you
see?
with your memory thing. What would have
Yeah,
been
but
out
I
at
didn't
that
go to the movie
time?
with you. I don't know what it was.
I
Yeah, I feel like
remember
it
the
was something I had
theater.
seen already.
Anyways,
Anyway, doesn't
um,
matter.
so I got another picture. This is kind of similar, but not up super high. It's a little super low. This is a fellow who's
Ooh.
sitting on the edge. Diver sitting on the edge of an undersea cliff.
Whoa, that's
Straight
crazy.
off, straight.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what's great about sitting on that cliff though?
What?
Is that you can't fall off it. You
Right,
kind of
right.
like
You can swim.
you'd
swim.
float or you can always swim. You can't swim in the air. But that's you know what, man, the sea is another. We've talked
I
about
know.
this on this podcast last season, but the sea is a big fear of yours.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we were talking about the sea shanties, and I
Yeah,
just want to catch up a
and the
little
perfect
bit.
storm.
Yes, Perfect Storm, great movie.
Ruined
Skylar's
James's
life
life when he was a kid.
adventures. I played the violin when I was 11 or 12. I'd play it again, but boy, it frustrating. Frustrating learning to play that instrument was
It
frustrating.
is a tough one.
Yeah,
Sure
with
thing.
not having any frets, it's makes it, you have to learn. Initially, you can put tape down and you
Yeah.
can learn where you're supposed to put your fingers, but then you eventually take that away, and then it's just from hearing and also just muscle memory of where on the fretboard to play the note.
I also think with the violin, you have to accept that you're going to be bad before you're good. There's a certain amount of guitar,
True.
and I'll say this, being a guitar player, you can kind of fake your way through some chords and just you can make a decent strum pretty quickly. But with violin, you have to accept to some degree that you're not going to sound good for a long time unless you really put in the hours, and then you eventually get there. And you're also practicing well, but it's one of those. I've heard it's like bagpipes. You're going to be bad for a
Bagpipes
while.
too, but I don't understand how you can practice
Before you're good.
bagpipes. I don't understand how you can practice it unless you had a soundproofed room.
I think that aren't there like can't
There's
you practice
there's a
bagpipe?
practice
There's
pipe.
I think there's like a practice, like a kind of like with a trumpet. I knew a
Cool.
guy who played bagpipes, Kevin Tanner, great bagpipe player. But I think he had like a mute, kind of like with violin, which
Yeah.
by the way, for anybody out there learning how to play a violin and you're worried about anybody you live with going nuts, just get a little mute. It's just literally a little
How to
weight
practice
that
the
you put on
pipes
top.
quietly.
It's a weight you put on top of the bridge, and it makes it like dead quiet, like deadens your fiddle right down to nothing. I think the pipes have something like that. I'm pretty sure.
I'm trying to just look right now, but I don't know.
But
Amy says there's going to be a Big Church Day Out 2022. Right on.
that's right. We heard that.
Exciting.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Alistair says my head is spinning just looking at that when we were looking at the picture of the construction worker up high. I'll briefly pull that up again just so people know.
Now, do you think he was really sitting there, or was it like an optical illusion there? Like he was over? No, I think he was really sitting over.
No,
top
I think
of,
he's sitting there, and Alistair's
big
made a good
drop.
point. Just imagine the person taking the photo. They'd be up there
that's
too.
bad enough.
No drones back then, lol. And also, they would have had an expensive camera, right? Like cameras would not.
Heavy. Cameras were heavy.
Expensive.
And they made explosions. Like they exploded the light bulb. Like
right.
there was
right.
Like, even if Buddy just
Holy
flinched while he took
smokes.
the camera, took the picture. It's not like you got a
I don't even
Polaroid
know.
up there. Like you just.
I don't even know, man. So that I think that's it for fact checking with James, and because I'm
cool.
sure most of my
that.
info on that stuff, like remember that place that we thought was in Illinois was actually in Michigan or something, Wisconsin.
Oh yeah. But no, it
That
was
lake with the super long name.
in Massachusetts, not in Michigan.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
got
Massachusetts, not in Michigan.
People would be really upset with us for mixing up. We didn't. Okay,
I didn't
we
mix
didn't
up the
mix up
state. I just was
Massachusetts
told
and
the wrong
Michigan. We just
info.
we were told
Anyways,
the wrong
with
info.
this picture of this underwater cliff, it reminds me of, and I thought about this the other day and was chatting with some people about it. And when I said it, when I was telling the story, it seemed more surreal and more like I was questioning why it happened. Was our experience with sharks? Do you remember? Do you remember what?
Oh yes, Stewart Cove.
Thank you for liking the
Bahamas.
stream. JCQUI, John. How would I pronounce that?
Jackie.
Jackie.
Jackie?
Right on. Thank you,
Yep.
Jackie.
Awesome, Jackie. Thanks for joining us.
The shark story of when we went on a family vacation. We finally went. Now talking about going places and Disney and all that stuff. We finally went on a vacation that I kind of been asking for, as a kid. I always wanted to go to a warm place, and everybody else wanted to go to some historic place with old buildings and see this
James
stuff,
wanted a
this
beach.
culture. I kind of just
James-
wanted to go to a warm place, and I
James just
eventually
wanted a
won.
beach.
I eventually won,
That's right. I
and
remember
we
that.
went to the Bahamas.
We did.
And one of the things we did was we went out on one of those shark things, the shark swimming thing, but
Yep.
it wasn't one where you're in a cage. It was one
No cage.
where they put is it chum? Is that what they call it? The little.
Well, they didn't do that.
fish?
So yeah, they put a chum box
Yeah,
way down below. Yep.
And they just went, here's a rope. There you go, guys. Have fun. There you go. Get out there. Let's go. And
We did that.
being John, being John, and our dad being our dad, who was on the end of the rope? On the end of the rope. Well,
Were you the last guy on the rope?
I'm pretty sure it was me. Pretty sure it was me, and our little trio there got in the water, and we were right at the end of the rope,
Mom
barely
was in there
hanging
too.
on
All
at the
four
end.
of us were there.
Once everybody got in the water, I think I had one finger left on that rope, and sharks came right
man.
up and brushed your
Yeah,
chest.
I had a like a.
What the heck was that?
literally-
Why did that happen? Why did we do that? I mean, now that I'm thinking
Well,
back,
I mean, okay, so we did it because it was like there was a pamphlet at the hotel or something. Let's be honest.
there was a
but-
pamphlet. That's okay.
But I honestly, we had a full size, and I can't remember the breed of shark. I feel like they were
Tiger sharks?
tiger sharks. Yeah, so what they were, James. And
And
I had
they're
a
apparently
huge
bottom
female
feeders,
tiger
but-
shark swim right up under like her dorsal fin or whatever, like brushed against my body, and
Oh.
like that's how close.
Here's some
but
scary
the-
photos,
The feed box was down really low, really
sharks.
far, and then we got back onto the boat, and then they removed the feed box, right?
That
And they
was when
said-
it got real.
They said, and then the sharks frenzied. They said, "This is when you don't want to be in the water," right? I mean, we probably should have been in the water regardless. But then the
yeah.
sharks went crazy, and we actually, I mean, the guys in the boat were they were flipping fish. They were feeding them to, and one shark jumped out of the water, bit the boat, and rocked the boat down. Now, I'm gonna say this.
You remember the name?
My wife Alex,
of
she
this?
taught in the Bahamas for a year leading up to us getting married. And I learned after the fact that that's really, really bad
Oh yeah.
to do that. Like it not just unsafe for us, but it's really
It's
bad,
bad
for
for the
sharks
sharks.
to be going out there regularly, feeding them chum, and then like making them frenzy, and they get reliant. Like in fact, the practice is like, it's like
Really frowned
they
upon,
don't
right?
like tourists coming down and jumping on these boats and going. So we didn't know any better, but it's like I probably wouldn't do it again. Also, I wouldn't do it again because I didn't love
It
swimming
just
with
seems
sharks.
like,
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But not yeah.
I don't know how
yeah.
that all evolved and we ended up doing that, but it was weird.
But we know better now, and I certainly learned after. I was like, oh, so that's the opposite of what you should do for the shark population in the Bahamas.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
okay,
no, there's
like-
no way. That's good for them.
No way.
But,
I wonder if they still do that. That was years ago too. That was
Yeah,
that
no,
was
that's
a
what I'm
long time
wondering.
ago.
I don't know.
It's like 15 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, it was 2007. We were there. Well, Bahamas. Sorry. Yeah, 2007.
Marlita is here
Yeah,
in the chat. She says,
2007.
"Crazy, comma wild stories today." Well, right on. I'm glad that
Oh, good.
glad I remembered that one because that happened, and I was telling people about that yesterday, and
That's funny.
I almost while I was saying it, I knew that it didn't sound like it was real, like it sounded
I
made
know.
up.
Yeah, it does.
So
It sounds like a big fish story.
yeah, it was literally just a rope. It was a rope too. That was all that they threw out there with us, and we all hung on to
Yeah,
the
it was.
same rope, and that was all there was for security,
Yeah.
for
And listen, we were in that water on that rope, and they were assuring us that it was okay. But it, I mean, looking back at it in hindsight, the only reason that we weren't sort of like, what if somebody had a cut or something? Like the only reason that we
oh
weren't
true.
a problem in the water, or like
Yeah, just because they were
bait or whatever,
distracted.
was because
Yeah,
they were distracted.
that
Well,
was the premise. That was the
like
premise of the whole event.
I wouldn't go out in a family of bears in the wild and just hope that a distraction was good enough.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Let's go to
know?
Canada. We're going to Canada for a vacation.
Take
You
you out with
know,
the grizzly
we'll
bears.
go in the woods.
Yep.
Okay, we'll get in a van. We'll go in the woods,
Mhm.
and we've already been feeding these bears, and they're
Yeah,
all coming in. There's a big group of them,
yeah, yeah.
and
We'll
and
throw a
then
caribou carcass out there and just hope for the
yeah,
best.
and you guys can all go up and basically pet them,
Mingle.
and we'll all have a nice afternoon. PNP Promotion says, "Hey guys, great to see you. Stay healthy and safe. Thank you so much.
Right on.
Appreciate you coming back. You're here a lot of weeks, and we
Yeah,
really
you guys,
appreciate you guys.
you're the best. Okay, so we've talked about the depths. We've talked about the heights. Let's go to new heights. Do you like
New
that?
heights. Give us the new heights.
Coldplay this week just released a brand new track called Higher Power.
Right. Yeah.
It debuted. And you know what? I think we all called this. We all called this that
John's a
Coldplay
big
would be
Coldplay fan. For anybody,
big Coldplay fan. I haven't kept up with them as much over the last couple records. I particularly connected with Viva La Vida, Milo Zalito, and of course their earlier stuff. When I was in high school, I was just listening to them constantly, and we've been to a number of their performances over the years, and we have always appreciated Coldplay. I've been a huge fan all my life, and we part of that I think is because we did Viva La Vida. James and we recorded it on one of our albums, Northern Redemption, and throughout that process,
Right,
we had a chance to connect with, by the way, and in memoriam, and he's lovingly remembered. Jay Frank used to be the program director at CMT in Nashville. Jay has he passed away way too early. He was I can't remember how old Jay was, but I think he was in his 40s. He was not old enough, and he just passed away. I think it was last year before the pandemic. So we lost him to cancer.
47.
And 47. Yeah. Jay was a wonderful guy, huge believer in our music. And when he was the program director at CMT in Nashville, Jay was a huge champion for us. He got our videos on to CMT in Nashville. That was what really helped us establish ourselves down in the US when we were, getting into country music, good 10 years ago now, 10, 11 years ago. And so anyway, Jay was the one who said to us, we were just covering Viva La Vida at the time, I remember, and playing it on stage. And he said to us at a show in Nashville, he said, if you guys can record that song and do a music video for that, we'd be interested in getting that on CMT in Nashville. And so we went ahead and did that. We went after it. We thought, oh, cool, we'll do a country Coldplay cover. And that certainly was the big thing from that record, from that era of our career. And Jay got it on CMT. But the difficulty that we were potentially going to run into, and we've talked about this before in interviews, but I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast, in order to be able to put a music video out on an outlet like CMT or Much Music or MTV, you have to typically get what is called a sync license to be able to do that. And sometimes, especially if you're going to record and do a music video of a very popular song, that song was top of the charts at the time, it can cost like an insanely prohibitive amount of money in order to be able to get a sync license. So Jay was able to connect actually through Coldplay's manager with the band when they were on tour in Australia at the time, send the band our version of Viva La Vida, and Chris and Johnny and Will and Guy, they listened to our version of Viva La Vida, and they got back to Jay and they said, awesome job these guys have done. They said really nice things about it. And they said, don't worry about the sync license. You guys just go ahead, make the music video, and put it out on CMT. We can't wait to see it, that sort of thing. So that was a huge stamp of approval for James and I, and a huge encouragement. And we've never forgotten that Coldplay have done, that said that and did that. And that was after being a massive fan already. I mean, I have been for a long time. So this week they debuted a brand new song, and wouldn't you know it, this is so in perfect Coldplay fashion. They debuted it in space for one of the astronauts on the International Space Station. That's where it debuted before it
What was
played
the other
on
person
Planet
that
Earth.
did something like that? Was it Will.i.am? He played some song in space or something.
Oh yeah, there's always a first something happening in
Yeah, I think
space
it was
with music.
Will.i.am,
I
but
can't keep track of it. But anyway, I think everybody thought U2 was going to be the first band to play in space, but I think it's now Coldplay. And so anyway,
why,
there's
do they
this
claim that they're the first?
No, yeah. So this is the first time a song has debuted in space before it.
I don't know about that. I think
No, but
Will.i.am did it.
I'm pretty sure that was what all the news outlets were saying.
Oh. Tony
This is
says-
whatever it is. It sets a new
Okay.
record or
Well, we'll
something.
hear it. Maybe they'll claim what they claim in this video. Marlita says, we will give you a rope to hold when with the Grizzlies. Right on. Tony says, you guys do a great Viva La Vida. Thank you, Tony.
Oh,
Appreciate
thank you,
that.
Tony. We appreciate that, man.
Alistair says, that's what grabbed our attention at Big Church Day out the first time. That's cool. Right on.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
The cover of the. And Tony says, he quotes the song I used to rule the world. ... Yes, that's right. That's right.
And I have to say, Coldplay are absolutely, without a doubt, one of the absolute best live bands you will ever see. I can say that
very good. Yeah,
completely confidently. One of the best live performances shows that you'll see. It's
I agree.
super awesome.
Hey.
Hey, you guys, can you hear
Salut
me?
Thomas.
Salut.
Comment ça va?
Let me crank up the volume a little bit. Ça va?
Wow.
Good to talk to you.
Amazing. Wow, man. We're so happy to see you.
Hey, welcome to the ISS.
Thank you.
The biggest band in the world, and they're like
than
super
that
giddy
when
to
I
talk
first
to an
got here,
astronaut.
but
That's
you're
always the
in the
case,
cupola
right?
or panoramic window, and you're lucky because it's a day pass. We could have been the middle of the night, but we're actually coming over Africa very soon.
Wow. What can you see from your window right now?
Well, I'll show you, right?
Please.
This is our Dragon spacecraft over there, docked to the station. Solar arrays on both sides.
Oh.
And down below, Magic of Earth.
That's awesome.
My God. That's amazing.
That's so cool.
And this is the back of the station down there.
Look, I told you, John, it's flat.
Russian Progress,
Told you.
Russian Soyuz.
Wow.
They're just mesmerized. I love that.
So, Thomas,
It's
I
pretty
believe you're
crazy.
going to be on this space station for 6 months. How long does 6 months feel on a space station?
I mean, thankfully, we're always busy. There's a lot of scientific experiments that we do. There's a lot of maintenance. We're going to have a couple spacewalks and actually go out and fix the solar arrays that you see in the background, maybe in June, July. So as long as you're busy, it goes really fast. And, you know, it's psychological. When you reach the midway point, then you feel like it goes downhill from here.
Yeah.
And then the last months goes so fast because you start thinking about, it's like when you're on a tour, I'm guessing, you start thinking about coming back home, what you're going to do, you know, taking a break, seeing your loved ones, and then it feels good to come back home.
Yeah.
It's like being on tour, except only if we stayed on the bus for 6 months and didn't play any concerts.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Earth when you're flying above it? And people?
You know, it's a great question. It's I mean, it goes without saying. From here, you don't see borders, you don't see any of that. You only see rivers, mountains, and all those natural features. As we're flying over Senegal right now, and you tend to think that all the divisions we create are just constructions of the mind. They don't exist naturally. We just make them happen. So that's just one thing. And then the other one that really struck
Pretty,
me, especially during my first mission, is
Profound thing.
it's amazing how small and kind of finite and fragile the Earth is. We don't get this impression when we're on the ground because everything seems so big. I mean, you cross an ocean, it's vast. You go to mountains, it's unbelievably big, and it seems like there's no limits to it. But really, from space, you can clearly see it's an oasis. It's a bowl. It's self-contained. Everything we have is here. There's nothing else anywhere else. So you have to use your resources wisely. You have to share. You have to work together.
Yeah, that's a beautiful perspective. That's how we feel too.
I'm not trying to
So
look
cool,
but
eh?
you're supposed to wear these when you're
Very
when you're
cool.
in a cupola.
Okay.
PNP
Well, that,
Promotion says
now you
one
look
word,
more like a
awesome.
rock star than we ever did.
And Amy says truths right there. So
So
people
true. And then
Like
it's
talking
actually
with Bono.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
and we don't have to watch the whole video
Okay.
because I know we're.
Do they
we're
eventually?
nearing-
Yeah, but do they eventually play a bit of the song, or what's the deal?
Well, no, not in this fit. Not it, like just this video is just
No,
focusing
that was
on the
neat,
chat. with the-
profound
with-
thoughts from this fella
I
here.
thought that was so cool, and then and just the perspective of the Earth and how fragile it is from up there. I can only imagine, right? We kind of, you know, we feel so big, and we kind of think about how big the Earth is down here, but we're like little ants when you're up in the space station, right? And you kind of, even just being in a plane, you start to get that perspective a little bit. But no, the thing that is also cool that he mentions, and I encourage anybody to go watch the full 8-minute interview with the astronaut on the International Space Station, and his name is escaping me right now, so forgive me for that. But
Thomas
Thomas
Pesquet,
Pesquet.
I believe.
Okay, awesome.
I don't
And
pronounce things
and I
right.
think one of the cool things he says is one of the big misconceptions in the movies about astronauts is that, and I hadn't heard this before, that it actually takes a really long time to get dressed in your spacesuit and then purge all the nitrogen in your system, like just sitting in your spacesuit in the station before you can actually go outside. Like it's a whole process of about 6 hours before you can actually even go out. And of course, in the movies, they just throw on the suit and they just go out, go out on the spacewalk. But it's actually quite a long process.
Oh, like when you get home. When you get
No,
back to
no,
Earth.
no. Actually, up there, but like when you're in the space station. And
Oh,
then
like
you
if you're gonna
out
go on a spacewalk? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just a matter of getting in your suit. Okay, now I'm dressed. Now I'm going to go out. You actually have to, it's a 6-hour process of getting in your suit and then also stabilizing your body. You have to purge a certain amount of nitrogen levels from your body. Like there's a whole thing. And so anyway, go check out that video and check out Higher Power. I'm loving this track. It's I think it's the kind of uplifting track that everybody could use right now with the with COVID hopefully coming quickly into our rear view mirror here. And a big shout out, of course, to the band for supporting us years ago, and Jay Frank, and to his memory. Certainly that was an important part of our career and history. That's for sure.
Absolutely. One of the last things got here, on a lighter note, is we talk about Elon Musk from time to time, and he was on SNL.
Speaking of space.
Yeah, he was talking about SpaceX and all that stuff. He was on
Yeah.
SNL over the weekend.
That's right.
And
it was hilarious.
man, it was one of that I didn't actually watch live that one. It was Google it, but the one where they are doing the Gen Z words or whatever, that was funny. We watched that before
Gen Z
getting on the show.
Hospital.
Yeah, it's pretty clean to play. We could play some of that.
Yeah,
but
of course. Yeah, no, this is perfect. It's like, and the good thing is, it kind of points out Jason and I are millennials,
Sorry, go
and
ahead.
so I don't actually understand half the things you're saying. So it's just so.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
don't
find
know
it funny
about
'cause
you.
it's very
Gen
like lots of
Z
Twitch,
hospital.
and Amy would appreciate
Yeah,
this.
yeah, true. A lot of streaming.
Nobody's telling us anything. Is Bestie gonna be okay?
Nurse, we demand to know how our bestie is doing.
I'm sorry, bro. I told you I don't have that information yet.
Bruh, seriously?
I'm so pressed right now, bro.
Don't be pressed. The doctor will be in shortly, bro. Dead ass. Yo, if this doctor keeps leaving us on red, he's gonna catch hands on gang.
No. It's gonna be okay. Bestie cannot die like this.
Big facts. She's gonna make it, bro.
There's
Big
the doctor
facts.
now.
I just love Elon walking.
Is this Smoking Squad?
Gang, gang.
Doctor, please tell us what's up with our bestie.
You all might want to sit down. What I have to say right now might be a little cringe.
Just give us the tea.
Okay, well, as you may have seen on her live, your bestie took a major L while driving her Hellcat.
Yeah, we saw.
We tried everything we could in surgery, and it was sus for a while. But we have your bestie on a machine, and we're doing everything we can.
So, Bestie's gonna be okay, right?
I'm sorry, but at this particular time, that's looking like a cap.
So anyways, they just keep going
Can we
and
see
going
her?
through all this
that.
kind of Gen Z language, and it's
He's like
really
the closest
fun.
thing we have to Tony Stark, like in real life. You know
Oh,
what
yeah.
I mean? And
Yeah,
then
that's
there
true.
he is on SNL. But it's also kind of something Tony Stark would do. Let's go on SNL.
Yeah, he's a character. Anyways, having just talked about him several times, I thought that was might as well bring it up. And it was
Yeah.
just interesting that because we've talked about cryptocurrencies on here too.
We have.
That
we had a whole episode.
I guess it's Dogecoin, right? There was a bunch
Right.
of craziness over that, and him being on there and mentioning it. And what ended up happening was right after this, actually it plummeted instead of they thought maybe it speculated it might skyrocket, and actually the opposite happened, which
Oh, that's
was
wild. Yeah, I remember seeing that.
So anyways, it was a funny time, funny show. I thought it was good. Of all the SNLs I've seen recently, I thought it was one of my ones that I liked more. One of my favorites.
For sure.
Anyway.
For a second there, I didn't know if that was our final music coming in or if it was the next video playing, and you couldn't
Yes,
hear
I'm
it.
sorry. No, sorry. No, this was another episode of Off Road with the Abrams, and we'll stumble our way out here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you, John. Do you have any final thoughts?
Thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate you hanging in there with us, and as we rounding toward the end of season 2 here, this has been a really great ride as we go here.
Yeah, it's I guess so, right? It's episode 18.
18. Can you believe it? That's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, thanks again, guys. Alistair says thanks. Tony, bye. Lisa, hope you have a nice week. Same to you. Thank you so much, guys. And as we say now at the end of each episode, remember, one of these days, it'll all make sense. Take care.